get their quality of life. And lots of people understand what that is. What's different from us between the Uyghur? What's different between us and Rohingya? What's different from us from any of the people who are being, slaughtered and have to be fearful to walk out their house, to be verbally abused in front of their mothers, their wives, their children, slapped, beaten, okay, killed, arrested, lied about in the court, not given. No, this is oppression. These are human rights violations across the board.
No, I'm not worried at all. I rely on God, Allah.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I agree with you that talk is cheap. Well done beats well said. Being able to diagnose is not the same thing as being able to cure. Okay, so just talking about the problem is only part of it, but you have to talk about what the problem is in order for people to take a step back and maybe put things together. Okay, just for example, you said that Donald Trump went and he likes to do a lot of symbolizing. Just the other day, he went to the park across the street from the White House. He gassed the people, he beat them out the way, and then he stood there and held up the Bible and said, "I'm going to protect this and this." And he did a similar speech that what Hitler did right before Hitler went and implemented martial law. That's symboling, okay? And that's what people need to look up and see. You can see the exact same picture and follow what do you call it? Hitler did right after he did that, and you'll see where we're talking about the symbolization. Now, as far as the solution, we have a bunch of solutions. And the problem is, again, what you stated, having the wherewithal to go the route with solving it. The first thing I suggest people should do, Africans who have dealt with racism, they should document their statements, their experiences in an email to the UN, the Human Rights Coalition at the UN. Send an email telling them all the offense that happened to you. There's not a person in this country who has reached maturity that has not had to deal with the racism. I'm talking about a Pan-African in this country that has not had to deal with racism. And even if he's not a Pan-African, if he's a person of color, he's had to deal with racism. And this goes against the charter that the UN has set up for dehumanization, the dehumanizing policies, and the Human Rights Council. So they should complain.
Do you think this is more of a symbolic move or action, or do you think it will result in actually any real type of
I'll tell you why.
Influence from the UN to do something about it? Do they even have the power to do anything about it?
Okay, so now what we're doing is we're playing a game of chess here. We know that the United States is the founders of the UN are the allies, okay? And they allied together to take down the real UN, which was the Ottoman Empire. And then they made a secular version of it with the United Nations. So we know where these things come from. So they don't have the power, the UN, and nor will they enforce the power to do anything about it, but they have signed treaties. They have signed treaties that give sanctions. If we get 1,000 complaints or more of people who send to the UN, then that will empower those 54 other countries, African countries, that now they can say, hey, look, you, and they have an initiative going on as well, that the world is bigger than 5. This is the AU and the other Eastern European countries are saying the world is bigger than 5. So we want to aid them by giving them the ammunition they need. I didn't just say to send it to the UN. I said also send it to the African Union. Because there's also, the African Union also has some charters, and that is to look at the state of affairs of Africans in the diaspora, okay? So we are the Africans in the diaspora, okay? And also the UN has a charter about people who are victims of chattel slavery, right? Human trafficking. Are we not the victims of human trafficking? Being in this country all these years, and we still don't have the human rights, the human dignity that are given to others. So what we're doing is we're setting the stage, and then we're going to ask them to give us refugee status. Now, the UN can't stop that, can't stop another country from doing that. And not everyone will leave, but it will allow those who want to leave an acceptable, safe passage out in some place where they can get their quality of life. And lots of people understand what that is. What's different from us between the Uyghur? What's different between us and Rohingya? What's different from us from any of the people who are being, slaughtered and have to be fearful to walk out their house, to be verbally abused in front of their mothers, their wives, their children, slapped, beaten, okay, killed, arrested, lied about in the court, not given. No, this is oppression. These are human rights violations across the board. And so to document them with the United Nations and then the African Union is just step one.
Do I feel that the New York police are providing enough protection, or do I have to have protection of my own? I look for protection from Allah.